Hey, hey, Facebook. It's live at 5 time. Hope you've had a good day. I certainly have had a pretty good one, full. Um, Taking a contact tracing class that I passed today, thank goodness. One of the few times I've mingled with online education, but it was a good one. And so I'm glad about that. I'll wait for a couple more people to camp on, and then I'll get going live. Want to talk about Karening today. And before I start, let me just say this. All the people that I love named Karen, I still love you. But Karening is not about you good people caring. It's about behavior. Um, yep. So wave and let me know that you're here. If you're here, that would be nice to know that I'm being supported out there by some folks. So feel free to send me a holler if you're out there. So this morning I watched a video. I can't remember what it was, but it was one where Karening was happening, where white people called the police on somebody doing something that they thought they ought not be doing. And it led me to thinking about the policing of black people and brown people, red and yellow, by people who are not the police. Now, the relationship with law enforcement and the police is a well-documented one, of course, and has been the source of the latest civil rights movement that we are currently in. And, but I think that there is also something happening in our culture that has been happening for a long time, but it's actually being filmed. I mean, who knew that this would be the tool of the revolution? And so I went back and I Googled just barbecue Becky to see what I will find. And I just want to give a couple quick examples of a man being racially profiled in Hobby Lobby. They called the police on him because he loosely looked like somebody who may have been a suspect in something. In a Nordstrom's rack, they wrongly accused some young black men who were shopping for prom gear, called the police, although they had purchased their items. Another incident where some black women golfers were out on the range, I guess it's called, and their police were called on them because they were moving too slowly and interrupting other golfers. And certainly, you know the story of Barbecue Becky and then the student at Yale who was napping and the police was called on her. And then some of these latest incidents, certainly even the woman at the bodega in New York City where she said a little black boy was in there with his knapsack or his backpack and he brushed up against her and she called the police saying that she had been sexually assaulted. But then when they watched the videotape, it actually what happened was the book bag had brushed up against her. And I've just been thinking, like, what is that about? Like, what is happening in those situations that makes it that escalates to that for people feeling like they need to be Barney Fife or make a citizen's arrest or somehow serve as a conduit or a surrogate for law enforcement? And what I think is happening is, well, there are myriad of things, but I'm going to go with this one right now, is implicit bias, meaning bias that people hold that they aren't aware of that they hold, or what they have learned from the dominant narrative. Now, the dominant narrative around African Americans has a lot of stereotypes in it, but one about being unhinged, maybe criminals, or welfare queen, or out of control, etc., etc. A couple of research studies help support this. There was a study done with black cops and white cops, and I think I've talked about this earlier, and where they each had a cell phone, either a cell phone or a gun, and that the black male person in the study was shot mistakenly almost twice as much as mistakenly more frequently than the white person with the gun. And that was for both black cops and white cops, which, leads to believe that there's some implicit bias going on. And then, of course, there's another study that talks about college students, co-eds, when they compared little boys up to a certain age, they were all cute until the little black boys got to be age 11, and that's when they started to be seen as criminal. And so there's something about the dominant narrative that leads to implicit bias, and it's like air. And I want to be clear that part of what the research says as well is that just because you don't believe in the truth of a stereotype doesn't mean that you're not impacted by it. Let me say that again. Just because you don't believe in the truth of a stereotype doesn't mean that you're not impacted by it. And so, given that that's what is in the dominant narrative, it is not surprising that then people start to deputize themselves to control and contain black behavior. And what's curious to me in these incidents is that people start to ask, what's your name? What's your address? Give me your phone number. Like somehow the white people in those situations, like I have authority over you. Like I'm a resident of this block in the same way that you have, but you are subjugated to me somehow. And then you should just answer, because I'm asking you the question and clearly I have authority or supremacy over you. And so why would you not answer this question? Now, everything is fun and games until the police arrive and the situation escalates, because again, the police hold this same implicit bias, right? I mean, and what's true is that sometimes I have some of that, because the messages and the dominant narrative is like air. It's pervasive. It's out there. We're all taking in the information. But the danger is this. The police have guns. And if the police arrive and it escalates, one of those brown bodies could end up dead. And that's the problem. It really is. De-escalate. George Zimmerman, they told him, leave Trayvon alone, go away, right? And he continued to move towards being aggressive, killing him. The same thing with Ahmaud Arbery, that this whole notion that he had burglarized, and they again deputized themselves to go and hurt him. So here's the thing. This is what I think needs to happen. Just stop. Just stop. Just assume. Give people the benefit of the doubt. And so if you feel yourself in a caring situation, or you feel like you're about to engage in some caring behavior, just stop. Don't engage with the person. And can you please not call the police? So this latest incident where the young man was spraying Black Lives Matter on his property, so what's it to you? It's not your property, it's their property, and it's not doing anybody any harm. So again, just stop in the name of life. Thanks for listening. I'm out. Have a good one. Enjoy your evening, folks. Bye.